So, you want to launch a subscription box and don't know where to start? Girl, you are in the right place. I'm Julie Ball, a subscription box coach, and your host here at Subscription Box Basics, a podcast for new and aspiring subscription box entrepreneurs that want to avoid overwhelm. So grab a coffee, some pen and paper, and let's have some fun. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Subscription Box Basics. I'm your host, Julie Ball, and I have a special treat for you guys today. I have a guest that is going to talk to us about email marketing. Oh, I know everybody loves email marketing. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it can be really fun. But the fact is, it is super impactful for growing your subscription box business, whether you're growing your email list or you're actually trying to go to convert new subscribers. So I would like to welcome my guest today. I have Brittany Long. She is the queen of Evergreen. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. And a lot of people will be meeting you for the first time, Brittany. So will you go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about your background and what do you do?
Absolutely. So I'm an Evergreen email marketing coach, strategist, trainer, and then we also write Evergreen emails for people. And basically what that means is if you've ever had an email that you can write once and make money from again and again, that's basically what an Evergreen email is. You create it once and then it continues to run without having to look at it all the time or remember to send it out. And so I've been doing this for a while now, but actually before this, I was a middle school science teacher years and years ago at this point. And yeah. and,
oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
I did that for a while and I enjoyed working with kids. But it just wasn't the right fit for me. And I stayed though, until I had a cancer scare that really racked my world. And I was like, this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. And so that's when I got out of that and into digital marketing. And then, that's kind of where things went. But I work with business owners that are course creators. They have product-based businesses. We work with dentists, pet psychics. Like if you can think of it, we've worked with them. And so that's what we do.
That's awesome. I didn't know that about you. And my husband is a former middle school teacher as well. And you wouldn't believe it, Brittany, but there are a lot of school teachers that either do a subscription box as a side hustle or it's their exit strategy. So I'm sure you can relate to them.
Absolutely. I had a side hustle. So I'm all about side hustles. I love them. I think it's a great way to give yourself a safety net while you figure out what you want to do next and easing into doing a business. Because sometimes if you do a business or start your business without having that safety net, it is a lot harder because there's all this fear and stuff like that. Whereas if you have that safety net, it's okay, worst case scenario, we have to make some adjustments this month or something like that, but we have that other income coming in. So I love when people do side hustles. I think it's so smart.
Yeah. And it's like a passion project a lot of times where they might need something to kind of escape from that typical day that can be super stressful. I know. So, okay, let's talk about Evergreen emails. So I love how simply you put it. It's like you write it once and you can make money with it over and over again. I know that writing emails can be a struggle for me. I don't consider myself a writer. I was never one of those people who liked to journal. I was more of the artist where I was drawing out my feelings or doing scrapbooks or something like that. So I think I personally put my own kind of limitations into oh, I'm not a writer. And so first of all, I acknowledge that I need to just drop that because it doesn't have to be perfect. No email has to be perfect. And what we're finding in our business is the more transparent and real and less corporate, less polished that we are, the better it's received. Do you see that in the business?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a few places where that might not be the case. For example, the dentists that we worked with or the doctors that we're working with. I think it really depends on the niche though. If you're working with somebody where they're like, hey, you're going to operate on me, you may want some of that professionalism there, but still the personal bedside, good bedside manners in email too. But that's really the only time I see people really wanting that prim and proper kind of marketing. The rest of the time it's I want to see you as a human. I want to know I'm doing business with a human and not just a corporation, not just a company. It's the same thing with local or not local businesses. businesses like McDonald's and stuff like that, a lot of times people are like, oh, they're the big corporation, but really it's somebody in your town that's running that restaurant. And so the key for people like that, even whether you have a huge business or a small one, is really connecting with somebody on a human level.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the more real that we show, the more specifically our audience at Sparkle Hustle Grow connects with us. When we share wins or losses in the business, when we share those like common entrepreneur struggles, those pain points that they also have, we get emails back. Like people actually click reply and they're like, oh, thank you for sharing that. Or that made me laugh. Or I'm glad I'm not the only one. So, let's start this conversation by saying that no email needs to be perfect. Done is better than perfect. We've sent out emails with wrong links before. We've sent out with typos, and we're still here to talk about it. And we're still, a healthy business. So don't worry about that. But let's talk about how a product-based business, like a subscription box, can use Evergreen. And I know you and I talked a little bit about what some of those scenarios might be. And I think the one I want to start with is where most of the people listening to this podcast are in that early stage of their business. There's a lot of moving parts. They're sourcing product. They're getting their boxes made. They're building a website. So there's a lot to manage at once. I'm imagining, creating some sort of launch sequence or evergreen in that pre-launch stage that will just let you like relax and move on to the next step. Like, let's talk about pre-launch or launch tactics with Evergreen.
Yeah. So if you're pretty much saying the same things every time, even if it's just a template to start with, you could do that. But creating something that has that structure that you need, that you can just fill in a few things. If it's the same thing that you're sending out all the time, let's say when somebody first comes to you, they have the same thing they get for month one every time. Then you can create an evergreen sequence for that. You know that every single person in month one is going to get a certain set of emails. Every person in month two is going to get another set. Yes. And by doing that, you can set it up, automate it, and then you don't have to think about it. You know that it's running no matter what, no matter if you're sick or your family's sick, or you have a lot going on, or it's summer and you're taking a break with the family or vacation. You know that it's going out without you having to think about it. And so you can do that with pre-launch, with everything really. Yeah. Pre-launch specifically, you want to be talking about what the products are, why they want it. You want to be thinking about any objections they have. So what are the reasons somebody wouldn't buy? You want to address those reasons in that email, and then giving them just information about either how it's going to help them or how it's going to enhance their life, make them happy, success stories, testimonials. All of those things are really, really helpful in your pre-launch evergreen sequence.
So as you're talking about that, I was making some notes. So one of the things that we tell our new and aspiring subscription box business owners to help you grow your email list is to do a giveaway.
Yes.
And so
I love giveaways.
Yes, right. You love a good giveaway. So say you're running this giveaway. I think one of the most impactful things you can do on the backside of the giveaway is to have that evergreen sequence ready. So when someone joins that giveaway, it's not just crickets for 2 weeks until the giveaway's up and then they find out that they didn't win, or maybe they did win. But what happens in those, let's just say 1 to 2 weeks that you're running that promotion, that giveaway? In my mind, I would say, one email might be like just simply thanking them for taking interest in your product and for joining the giveaway. And then maybe sharing something like you can continue to enter every day now through, the date. That's not going to change. Like every time when someone enters that giveaway, they all should get that first email. And then maybe you have a second or a third email that introduces your new box product, or it gives or maybe a way for, we love to do this or that, where we post it on social media or we send an email and we say, we're considering these two products. Do you like the pink one or the purple one? In my mind, pink always wins, but I want to ask. So I can envision like a 3 email series that's evergreen after a giveaway. Is that kind of, am I on the right track here?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're saying before the actual giveaway happens, is that right?
But no, like when they enter the giveaway say you're running a 10-day giveaway, you don't want to not talk to them in that 10 days after they've entered. You've already collected their email address. So you can talk to them. So what are you going to say?
Right. Okay. So if they can enter every day, honestly, I would send an email every day reminding them that they can enter.
Ooh, really?
I know, which it feels scandalous,
Right.
but if it's me and I'm entering something, I want to, and I want the thing, of course I want to enter more, but I have a lot going on. I have a toddler. I have, the business. I'm 100% going to forget to enter every day unless you tell me. So
That's
just
true.
a quick email. It can be less than 100 words, just super fast of, hey, just a reminder to enter today, including some kind of screenshot of somebody that loved whatever it is that you're doing the giveaway for, and then asking them to reply in as many emails as possible. You can ask them to reply. You can ask them to go to your site, whatever it is. But one of the things absolutely is to ask them to reply. It'll help with your deliverability. It'll help with your domain reputation, which essentially means more eyes on your emails. Like your email ends up in their inbox instead of their spam folder or their other folder. And then they actually are more likely to see it too. And so that's what I would suggest, 100%.
That's great advice. So if you're setting up your giveaway in advance, maybe look at, okay, so say you're going to do 7 to 10 days, plan out a short email for each of those. And there's in your email marketing service provider platform, you can then schedule those out to say, deliver this on this day or deliver it one day after. And I think that's what's really important to note. If you've never done an evergreen email before, these email platforms allow you to either choose like a day and a time that it goes out and it automatically shoots it out for you, or it can be time-based where you say 24 hours after they join, send this one. In another 24 hours, send this one. And I think that just makes it so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to think about it. It's already taken care of. It's like you hired somebody in your company, but you don't have to pay them because you just did it once and then it continues to run.
Nice. Okay. So the second evergreen series that I think every subscription box business owner should have is a new customer welcome series.
Yes.
So you sort of alluded to that already. And so I want to tell really quickly what we do at Sparkle Hustle Grow. And then I'd love to hear any feedback from you as well as like what you've seen work in other businesses. Yep. So we have a 5-day sequence. When someone joins, they're going to get their transactional email. That's just part of our cart system. That's not part of our evergreen. They get their transactional email, which is just a receipt saying, you made this purchase, save this to write it off on your taxes. But then right away, we have a what to expect, like welcome, what to expect. And we map out some of those really key, important things that are unique to subscription boxes. Like, when do we ship? They always want to know, when do we ship? We also include a link to our private Facebook group. So that first email is like, welcome, here's what to expect. And then emails 2 through 5 are a series of like, meet the team. Like, this is who we are and what we stand for, which is like, work hard, play hard. And just a little bit about how we started Sparkle Hustle Grow. We do talk about our affiliate program in one of the emails, and we say like how you can make money by sharing about Sparkle Hustle Grow. We always try to make it about them, like how you can earn your next box for free, that type of thing. And then we also have one of those email, and I forgive me because I don't remember the order that they're in. I'd have to go check. But one of them was how to make the most of your subscription. Mm-hmm. And that is teaching them how to use the product. So they need to be aware that we have the Facebook group. They need to be aware that we have a monthly business training. Like, if you're going to get a box of goodies, like, that's not going to grow your business. It's going to be fun, but you actually have to put the work in. So we teach them how to use the product. Mm-hmm. And so that's what our kind of 5-day welcome series entails. And we've honestly probably not touched it in about 2 years because nothing really has changed. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, the beauty of this evergreen. Like, we know that each new customer is going to get this nice welcome sequence. It's no work on our behalf. Mm-hmm. At this point, like, we set it and forget it.
Mm-hmm. And your people are taken care of without you having to continually do new things to make sure that's happening.
Yes.
So for the welcome sequence, I really like what you had there. That's pretty much what I'd suggest. So the what to expect in FAQ, I would put that first in your welcome sequence, followed by here's what you're going to love about this. The next one I would do is how to use this. And here's how to use it. And then here's what to be excited for. And then the next one I would do is who we are, community, really kind of building that fan base, talking about not only who you are, but what that means to them. So for example, let's say that you are really into, or you really want to make sure that every product that you have is environmentally friendly. And so we're not just saying, hey, this is environmentally friendly. That's what we stand for. We're saying, and that means that you can, does it mean it's going to save the money? Does it mean they get to feel good about shopping in a way that's going to better the environment? But we will always want to make sure that we're focusing on, here's who we are, but here's what it means for you, because that's really what matters most to them. And so that's what I'd say for the ones that you have. I love what you said. The other thing I'd say is having a more extensive fulfillment sequence too. So we want to say like, hey, here's your order. But then when the order's on the way, we want to say, hey, your order's on the way. Here's how to actually use it once you get it. And then even having like a, once it gets there, or once, you know, it's almost going to be there, say, when you get it, here's what, you know, your next steps, here's how to use it. Again, we want to reiterate again and again, here's how to use it. But not only here's how to use it, here's how, that's where you'd put the affiliate stuff. Here's what to do, take a picture with you, tag us. Here's how that's going to benefit you. So basically getting that social proof and getting it on autopilot.
Ooh, I love that. So this is like a coaching call, like just recorded it. This is so good. So we use a shipping software called Pirate Ship. And when we ship a package, they're going to get that tracking email. We have control over what that email says. Like, yes, there is the standard out of the box. You don't have to do anything. But you could go in and tweak it. So I can imagine just going in to tweak some of those, even transactional emails like that, where it says, you know, here's your tracking. You can expect it to arrive in 2 to 3 days, blah, blah, blah. Your first step is, you know, your second step is, and your third, these are the 3 things we want you to do when you get your box, that type of thing. So it's just like reinforcing that affiliate program, reinforcing like what we want you to do. I love that. I want to share an idea too, that we have every month there's going to be a renewal. So for Sparkle Hustle Grow, we renew on the 15th of every month. 2 days in advance of that, there's an automatic email that goes out that says, hey, just heads up, you renew in 2 days. If you have to change your address or your credit card information, here's that. And here, you know, this is your chance to do that. And now I guess you could consider that Evergreen, like it's, you know, it's transactional. So it's not like a marketing email, but what we did in that is we've tweaked it to say, if you want a sneak peek of what's in this upcoming box, check out this link. And we have a webpage. It's just sparklehustlegrow.com/sneak peek. And once a month, we go up and update that page. We put a spoiler in, like a picture, and then we give a little description and a retail value. And so that's one of those evergreen emails that we don't have to touch now because we link it to that page and we just update the page monthly. And so that's been really, really good for us because our subscribers love a good sneak peek, but we don't want to spoil it for everyone. So it's kind of selective. Like if you want to go see it, click here. So that's kind of been one of those set it and forget it emails where we tweaked once and it works for us really well month after month after month.
That's really cool. I love that. One of the places I see a lot of product-based companies not really utilizing their email marketing is with fulfillment emails. Fulfillment emails are like the prime real estate because it often has the tracking number and people want to know where their package is. Yes. And so those, how you said editing those, like that's brilliant because otherwise, I mean, it's just kind of wasted space. It's the tracking number, which they want, but then there's so much prime real estate there that so many people aren't using.
You're so right. As a consumer, now that I think about it, how many times do I go back to that tracking email while I'm waiting for it to arrive? I'm like standing at my mailbox, checking my tracking number at the same time, like stalking the mailman. Oh, I love that. Okay. So I'm definitely going to talk to my team about that tracking email. Like what else can we put on it? You know, we don't want to overwhelm it. The idea is get excited, do your happy dance, your box is on the way. But if we have one other thing to say, like that would be the place to put it. Oh, that's brilliant, Brittany. I love it. Yay. Okay. So we've talked a lot about, you know, Evergreen, a couple of different places for a subscription box business to to either create an evergreen sequence or to tweak some of those evergreen transactional emails, like the receipt, the tracking email, that type of thing. So I know there's going to be a lot of people that are listening and they're like, where do I start? So what would you tell them as, some great tips to start with, or feel free to share any resources that you may have?
Yeah. So, well, first, before I forget, I do have a welcome sequence training and templates. And Perfect. So I'm going to give you those for free. I'm sure we can put those in the show notes or something. Yes. Totally yours for free. Just thanks for listening. So welcome sequence is really important. Fulfillment sequence. The other one is abandoned cart sequence. And so that's one where people start to fill out the information and then they abandon the cart. They decide, for whatever reason, they don't buy right then. Usually when I don't buy, it's because my little one is like took off her diaper and is running around the house naked and I have to chase her. And so whatever the reason is, the reason isn't always that they don't want it. Sometimes it's that they have a question that wasn't answered, or, they have somebody running around naked or something like that. And they have to take care of that. And so having just a few emails that go out to them that are like, hey, just a reminder, here's this thing, and then answering some of the common questions that you get. That's an easy way to recover some of the sales that you otherwise wouldn't. Typically, we see anywhere from 70 to 85% of people abandoning their cart. And if you can even recover some of those, like even just a few of those, that could be significant, and that can be put on autopilot too. And then
I love that.
Yeah. And then the other thing I'd say is for do's and don'ts, your subject lines. So making sure that they're really, really juicy. If a subject line is like, if you go on a dating website or something like that, and you have maybe a picture that's like really grainy and old and like nobody can tell what it is. Is it a fish? Is it a person? I don't know. That's like having a bad subject line. So you want to have a subject line that is really intriguing, that piques their curiosity. And so a resource I really love is subjectline.com. And the reason I love it is because it also gives you tips on how to improve it. We shoot for an 88 or higher. Yeah, it's really helpful. So that's a good one. CoScheduler has a subject line tool as well. I prefer subjectline.com because they update the data every day. And it's just very like data driven. So you have two pieces of subject line. One is the data side of it, what's most likely to get opened. And then the other side is just that human curiosity side. So is it curious enough? And does the data show that it's going to get opened? Using those two things together will help you have a better subject line. But typically using words like you or your will increase your subject line or your open rate. Using punctuation like exclamation mark, question mark, quotation, parentheses, brackets. The only punctuation currently that doesn't work very well is a comma. So I'd avoid that one. Like super weird tip, but there you go.
Yeah. What about emojis?
Emojis are great. I wouldn't use more than 2 of them in a subject line, but emojis are great. Having the person's name in there, if you have a software that can put that person's name in there, using that is also really good. But those are the biggest ones. Capitalizing the first letter of the subject line. If you lowercase it, that really impacts it a lot, which is crazy, right? But I know, so weird.
These are such great tips. Oh, I love this.
Yeah,
it's funny too, because the way you said it, like a dating app. Fun fact, I met my husband on Match.com.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And that was back in 2007, before it was like really cool. And it was very like, I was almost embarrassed to tell people that I was on it. And now it's like the norm.
Right.
But I love that comparison though. You're like, what would be, that leading image, or like those, if you could describe yourself in 5 words, like those are just so important. So think about that for your business, but also like, don't be afraid to put a little personality into it. You as the business owner know your niche, your target audience better than anyone else, especially if you are in your own niche, which luckily for me at Sparkle Hustle Grow, I am. So like, I know all of the inside jokes and the pain points of an entrepreneur. So for us, I think that would be like, we'd be able to tap into that to speak directly to that audience and really get them to open the email.
For sure. Yep. I totally agree. So subject line is really important. The other thing is a call to action. So a lot of times I see calls to action that are unclear, or they have different calls to action or different links that they're going to. So you want to have one clear call to action. You can have it multiple times in your email, but you want to have one call to action that is going to the same link in that email. So the other thing with calls to action, if somebody doesn't know what you're asking them to do, they're not going to do it. So
Yes.
sometimes I'll see people saying, reply and let me know, and then click here, or click here and then reply and let me know. Just have them do one thing only, and then make it really clear that you want them to head to your site and check it out, or learn more about this month's box here. Just as clear as you can. It doesn't have to be cute or kish, but as clear as you can is ideal.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys hear that, right? Do not have 10 calls to action on the same email. Have one clear call to action. It can be multiple places in the email, but you're sending them to do one thing or asking them to do one thing. And there's this, I've mentioned this in past podcasts before. Back in the day, like 10 years ago, when I was studying web design, I read a book called Don't Make Me Think. And I always tap into that when I'm thinking about marketing emails. Like if I had my husband read this email and he had no idea what it was about, like, could he figure it out? Like, don't make me think, tell me what to do. And I think about that a lot with social media too, where sometimes we post, pretty pictures, but if you just tell them, like if you put the word subscribe on that picture, you're telling them what to do. Now, I'm not saying do that for every picture, but sometimes you need to tell your subscribers, whether that's your paying subscribers or your email list subscribers, like tell them what to do. So I think that's really, really great advice. I had one other piece of advice that has helped me with this along the way that I wanted to share. And I'd love to know if you do this too, or if you do something different. So when I'm thinking about writing a sequence, say I'm going to sit down and write a 5 email sequence, I open up a Google Doc. And I write at the top, the 5 emails and the 5 subject lines and the dates that they're going to go out. And then I'll have a fresh page in the same document. So it's a rolling document, a fresh page to write each email. And that way I can start at the top when I'm done writing and scroll down, read it in order out loud to see if it makes sense, if there's that flow, if it goes from, one email to the next very seamlessly. But I sit down with one Google Doc and write it all in there. I do not write it in my email software. What do you do?
Yeah. Don't write it in your email software. And I'm saying this out of love and from experience. There have been multiple times where I have done that when I was first starting out, especially, and then something happened, the server went down, like internet went out, and you lose it. And every time it's happened, I'm like, never again. And so, but then I still did it a few times until I got mad enough about it that I stopped doing it. But yes, put it in Google Docs. And then I'd also say with Google Docs, you can do offline mode. And so whatever, I have multiple email addresses because I'm like an email address addict or something. I don't know, but I have a lot of email addresses. So I just make sure that I'm using the email address that has the offline mode, so that if the internet goes out, we live out more in the country. So sometimes if a storm comes through or something, we'll lose internet for like an hour, or if I'm on a plane, but I always make sure that I have offline mode on so that even if it goes offline, it will still save. I can still write it out. So yeah, definitely do it in Google Docs. Yeah. And I love what you said too about putting it in Google Docs and then editing right there and then reading it out loud. That's something that I do too. And I suggest people doing. When I read it in my head first, or when I read it in my head, I miss things that I don't miss when I read out loud. And so when I'm reading out loud, I'm like, all right, anything that I'm stumbling over, anything that's I have to read twice, anything that I say it and I'm like, that sounds kind of weird, I edit those things. But I wouldn't have known unless I read it out loud.
Exactly. Some things that, when you say them out loud, you're like, oh, that sounds inappropriate, or that sounds just wrong. So definitely, sit down, carve out some time on your calendar to write these. Remember, we're talking about Evergreen here. So this is one of those ones where you're going to write it once and then you're just going to schedule it out. And it's not something that you have to go back to on the regular. Now you can update Evergreen. So if something changes, if your shipping date changes or whatever, you can go back and update those. And moving forward, the new emails will reflect that. But we're talking about like sitting down, knocking out a series of emails, scheduling it and like wiping your hands. You're done,
Absolutely.
All right. So before we wrap up, Brittany, I know you have this other really cool resource too that someone might be able to use if they're just like, I don't even know what to write about. So we're going to put all these links to the freebies in the show notes, but tell us a little bit what this is.
So one of the things that people tell me is like, I don't know what to write. Yeah. And so I was thinking, okay, how can I help them know what to write? And so we have something, it's this calendar where you open it up. Let's say it's May 23rd, you open to May 23rd, and it tells you exactly a topic to write about. So it gives you that starting point that so many people struggle to find. Yeah. And then not only that, but we also give you something called the 5-minute email framework, which is the way that we write emails in 5 minutes or less. So that you can know what to write about and actually get it written in 5 minutes or less. So there's no, it's going to take forever, or I don't know what to write. Like, you're taking care of it.
Feels less heavy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I love it. Okay. So I'll make sure I get all those links. You guys definitely want to check her out. Brittany, where can they follow you on the socials or wherever?
Instagram is the Queen of Evergreen. LinkedIn is Win with Systems, Brittany Long. And then YouTube, you can find me, Brittany Long. Pretty much if there's a platform, it'll either be Brittany Long or the Queen of Evergreen.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot. I'm already thinking of some things that I want to tweak in my own emails. And I know that you've inspired a lot of our listeners too, because a lot of us drag our feet when it comes to emails, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You're not alone. Okay. You're doing that. Not alone.
Right. Well, thanks again. I appreciate you being here. Thanks everyone for listening. I hope that you love this. Make sure you check out those show notes so you can snag all those freebies, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.